with something lately. And the only way I know how to describe it is this quiet, almost unexpected exhale. The kind you don't even realize you've been holding until your shoulders drop and you think, oh, there it is. And it got me wondering, how long have I been holding my breath? Because somewhere along the way, and I can't even really pinpoint exactly when I started performing my life, not in a dramatic way, not in a this isn't me kind of way, but in a slightly adjusted for approval kind of way. This version makes more sense kind of way. This is probably what I should be building right now kind of way. And for a while, it worked. I had direction, a version of me I could point to and say, there she is. She's getting it together. She had a plan. She had goals. She looked like someone who knew exactly where she was going. And I liked her. I really did. But here's the thing that I'm not telling you, and really that no one tells you. Sometimes you can build something that looks right on paper and still feel slightly disconnected from it in real life. Like wearing a beautiful outfit that just doesn't quite sit right when you move. You keep adjusting it, smoothing it down, telling yourself it's fine. But deep down, you know, this isn't it anymore. And midlife has this way of gently, and sometimes not so gently, calling that out. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait until it's convenient. It just sort of taps you on the shoulder in the middle of your very normal life and says, are we still doing this? And that question, it'll follow you through your morning coffee, through getting dressed, through the quiet moments when you're not distracted by everything and everyone else. Are we still doing this? And the answer, at least for me, started to get a little shaky. Because what I thought I was building and what actually started to feel good in my everyday life, those two are not lining up anymore. And that's a very strange place to land because nothing is technically wrong. Your life still works. You're still showing up. You're still doing all the things you've always done, but something underneath it all feels off. Like you've outgrown a version of yourself that used to fit perfectly. And I think this is the part of midlife we don't dress up very well. We talk about reinvention like it's exciting. We talk about becoming like it's glamorous. But we don't talk about the quiet, almost disorienting moment where you realize, I don't think I want what I thought I wanted anymore. And then you just sit there like, well, now what? Because there's no checklist for that. There is no 5-step plan, no how to gracefully outgrow your own life guidebook. It's just you standing in the middle of something that used to make perfect sense, trying to figure out why it doesn't anymore. And for me, it started showing up in the smallest, almost unnoticeable ways. What I actually enjoyed doing. What started to feel like pressure. What gave me energy and what quietly drained it. And I noticed this subtle tension building between the life I was living and the life I felt like I should be building. And to be very honest, that word should has probably done more damage than anything else. Because should is sneaky. Should, it sounds responsible. It sounds productive. It sounds like you're on track. But sometimes it's just a collection of expectations you picked up along the way that don't actually belong to you anymore. And at some point, I just got tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes. The kind of tired that comes from carrying something that doesn't quite fit and pretending it does. So, I did something that felt small but wasn't. It stopped. Not everything, not my life, just the part of me that felt like it was constantly trying to turn my life into something. And I remember thinking, what if I don't need to build anything right now? What if I just need to live it? What if I moved my body because it feels good, not because it leads somewhere? What if I got dressed because I'm rediscovering my style? Which I am, and it's really, really fun. What if I showed up in my own life without needing it to translate into something bigger, something more, something impressive? And I have to tell you, there's something quietly radical about that. Because we've been taught, especially as women who have done all the things, carried all the roles, that everything should be building toward something. More success, more growth, more visibility, more proof that we're still relevant. But what if this season isn't about more? What if it's about mine? What if it's about choosing what feels like you again? Even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else, because it doesn't have to. Even if it doesn't scale, even if it doesn't grow, even if it doesn't turn into something or anything beyond your actual life. Because here's something I didn't expect to realize. You can spend a lot of time trying to become someone and still wake up one day and miss yourself. And that, my friends, that's the part that hit me. Not in a dramatic, life-altering way, just in a quiet, very honest, I think I want me back. Not the version that has it all figured out, not the version that's building something impressive, just me, as I am, where I am, figuring it out in real time. There's a little voice that still pops up sometimes, sure. The one that says, shouldn't you be doing more? Shouldn't you have a clearer plan? Shouldn't this be going somewhere? And now, I kind of just let her talk because I've realized not every voice deserves a vote. What does deserve a vote is how your life actually feels when you are living it. Not how it looks, not how it performs, not how it translates, but how it feels on a random Tuesday morning in your kitchen with your coffee. Because, newsflash, that's where life is, isn't it? Not in the big moments, not in the highlight reel, but in the ordinary, everyday rhythm of it. And lately, that rhythm has started to feel like mine again. Simpler, quieter, more honest. I'm not reinventing myself. I'm not chasing the next version of who I'm supposed to be. I'm just returning. And maybe that's the real shift that no one talks about. But I am, because midlife isn't always about becoming someone new. Sometimes it's about becoming or coming back to the parts of you that got lost along the way. And yes, there's a vulnerability in that, Because when you stop performing your life, when you stop shaping it into something that makes sense to everyone else, you don't always know how it's going to be received. Some people might not get it. Some people might drift. And you know what? That's okay. Because what's left is real. And I don't know exactly where this version of me is going. I don't have a 5-year plan neatly mapped out. Shocking, I know. I don't have a clear, this is what it all becomes ending. But I do know this. I feel more like myself than I have in a very long time. And maybe that's the point. Not to arrive, not to figure it all out, but to feel at home in your life again. So if you've been feeling that quiet nudge, that subtle sense that something doesn't quite fit the way it used to, you are not behind. You are not lost. You are just being invited to take a closer look at what's actually yours now. And maybe, just maybe, this isn't the part where everything falls apart. Maybe this is the part where you stop performing and start living. And honestly, that feels like more than enough.